Hi, my name is Harry, and welcome to my talk about visualizing systematic review search strategies. This work was conducted at the University of Queensland in Australia in collaboration with the CSIRO eHealth Research Centre and the Bond Institute for Evidence-Based Healthcare. I have no actual or potential conflict of interest in relation to this presentation. I would like to thank the University of Queensland and CSIRO for funding my scholarships and my travel. This is me. I'm a PhD student in computer science, researching ways to improve systematic review search through information retrieval. I'm working on ways to automatically generate more effective search strategies for systematic review literature search. The actual method and results of my experiments aren't relevant to this particular talk, but I started to see great results. The problem is that I couldn't understand why one query was more effective than another. When I looked at two search strategy variations, that is, Boolean queries, I knew that one was more effective than the other, but I couldn't understand why. I would evaluate my queries using the studies that were included in the final systematic review. I can make objective measurements like precision and recall about the queries, but what makes one query more or less effective than the other? Even if you submitted these two searches to PubMed, I think it would be difficult for you to tell me objectively what changes to make to improve either search strategy. Likely, you can only make decisions using your gut feeling and experience in the domain. However, studies in information retrieval have shown that users cannot agree on the effectiveness of queries. And likely, this is the way that you would have validated the two search strategies to compare them to each other. The bottom search strategy is the original, with how many studies are retrieved, and the top search strategy is the same, but with 10 seed study IDs added for validation. I realized that I needed a way to visualize search strategies in order to understand the syntactic and semantic differences between them. When I showed this idea to my PhD supervisor and my lab mates, they all thought it was a great idea. So I decided to develop the idea into a tool using feedback from real information specialists. Even the information retrieval community thought it was a great idea, and I was able to have it published. I now have a tool for myself and others to use to visualize and understand search strategies. QueryViz. QueryViz is being used right now to help information specialists refine their searches. Now I'd like to demonstrate how you could go about refining or improving your search strategies with an example. Let's focus on this search strategy. It's one of the search strategies that I was having difficulty understanding if it was effective before. To find out if this search strategy is effective or not, let's try to ask some questions about it. For example, which clauses of this search strategy are contributing the most studies? Are any of the clauses in the search strategy unnecessary? Are there better choices of terms that will make this search strategy more effective? Let's open QueryViz to answer these questions. This is what QueryViz looks like. I've submitted the query from the previous slide and rendered a visualization. I've also loaded 10 seed studies that I know are relevant to validate this search. In the top right-hand corner, you can see some basic information about the search, like how many studies it retrieves, how many seed studies I've loaded, and how many of those seed studies are retrieved by the search strategy. Now let's look at the first one of the questions we were asking before. Which clauses of this search strategy are contributing the most studies? One attribute of the visualization that is helpful to understand which clauses are contributing the most studies are the sizes of nodes and edges in the visualization. The size of nodes and edges are relative to the total number of studies retrieved, so a large node indicates many studies are being retrieved by it. We can also see some query terms that are contributing very few studies as well, which is also important. How about the second question? Are any of the clauses in the search strategy unnecessary? Another attribute of the visualization that will help us is the hierarchical structure. This part of the search strategy has many clauses, so let's zoom in and focus on it. This particular clause looks like a good candidate to remove, because it's retrieving relatively few studies. And it actually isn't retrieving any of the seed studies. When I remove the clause and update the visualization, we can see that it only reduced the total number of studies retrieved by 6. Maybe if I remove this term, we can cut down on the total number of studies retrieved. It isn't retrieving all of the seed studies, so it looks like a good candidate to remove. Actually, it turns out that search term was necessary. By removing it, I do cut down the total number of studies by quite a bit, but now I'm retrieving one fewer seed study. While I couldn't get rid of that term for now, there are actually a lot of search terms that I didn't need. I managed to cut down the number of studies retrieved by the search strategy to about 600, while maintaining all the seed studies. Finally, there was the third question. Are there better choices of terms that will make this search strategy more effective? Now that we've arrived at this refined search strategy, let's focus on this critical search term. This term is retrieving a high number of studies, and there's likely a better choice of term that will cut down further the number of studies. But for now I'm going to be conservative and keep it. What about the two search strategies I was having trouble understanding the differences between before? I'm still standing down there with my binoculars. When I visualize the two queries, I immediately can see the major differences between the two search strategies, identify the best actions to take, and immediately see the consequences of those actions. I can also dive into the details of the search strategy. If I was only looking at evaluation measures like precision and recall, I would have likely discarded the one on the right as it does not have 100% recall. But it's immediately obvious where I'm missing out on that study, and I can likely find a search term that will bring me to 100% recall. Note that my goal here is not to show you how to overfit search strategies to the seed set. Instead, I'm demonstrating how easy it was to compare the two search strategies by increasing our understanding of them. Why is a tool like QueryViz important? The construction and refinement of search strategies is ad hoc. Information specialists use a handful of seed studies that are known to be relevant. These seed studies are used to construct the search strategy. Information specialists continue to refine the search strategy until it feels right, using intuition and experience. QueryViz enables search strategies to be made more understandable. This is especially important in the Cochrane systematic review process, where search strategies are peer-reviewed. Here, suggestions to make modification to search strategies are also made using the reviewer's gut feeling. QueryViz can be used in situations like this to increase the confidence for why and how to make changes to search strategies. Finally, to summarize how QueryViz can help information specialists, it allows one to quickly understand differences between two search strategies. It allows one to understand what aspects of the search strategy are more effective or less effective. It allows one to identify the actions they should take to make their search strategy more effective. And it allows one to immediately see the effect of the actions taken on the search strategy. So does QueryViz actually work? Well, anecdotally, it was found to decrease irrelevant studies by as much as 40%. However, we don't empirically know what this number actually is, so a controlled user study is planned, involving many participants. We would like to identify if visualization does indeed produce more effective queries, and if so, how much more effective those queries are. Please get in touch with me if you have any questions, either via email or Twitter. This tool is available and live right now, so please check it out. Thank you for listening.